But first, let's go to the Toyota of Hollywood guest line. Shop hundreds of Toyotas indoors in one of America's largest showrooms at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. We love talking to this guy, Fred Taylor, host of the Pivot Podcast with our guy Channing Crowder. They do a fantastic job. New episode out. They have a Big Fish. Errol Spence is on the show too, which I'm very excited about that fight, Fred. That's a very exciting matchup coming up next week with Terrence Crawford. What was the best stuff you got out of Errol Spence? Give us one juicy nugget from the Pivot that you loved from your sit down with the champ.
Man, you know what's crazy is Errol Spence. I think he's an amazing fighter. I think this is our second time. Did I lose you guys?
We hear you, but you.
Okay, yeah. So this is our second time having him on the show. He's also, just an amazing person, but he talks with so much confidence, man. He's chill, relaxed, so much confident, and just giving you guys a quick nugget. We also did Terrence Bud Crawford, and we'll drop that, in a week, the week following. I'm not sure if I was supposed to say it, but it's too late. It's out of the bag. And having both guys on, man, it's just it's going to be a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, they seem to both be laser focused. They understand what's at stake. It's a legacy fight, much like we grew up watching back in the day, man, with the likes of Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Hearns, all those guys. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, man. But no real nuggets. You'll tune into the episode and you'll see it. But just some great guys to sit down with. They're both confident. They both believe they're going to win. And I'm looking forward to the fight July 29th.
Hey, we got more pressing issue going on with our craft. What the hell is going on with running backs?
Nothing's going on with the running backs. It's going on with the people that's paying the running backs.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal, Fred. Like, they always say the best friend a quarterback can have is a running back.
Oh, yeah.
And that stands true, especially for Daniel Jones. Now, if I make you Saquon Barkley and you see them take care of Daniel Jones, you automatically think, oh, well, they got to take care of me because without me, Daniel Jones don't have a chance. And They just don't even try.
Yeah, it's pretty much a slap in the face. And I think the NFL, it's trendy, and it's been trending that way for some time. But it's a business first and foremost. And it's about making money. It's about making your moves and living with it. Obviously, we know Daniel Jones wouldn't have had the season he had a year ago without Saquon Barkley. Didn't have any real receivers to throw the ball to. Saquon was, majority of the offense. And we all rooted for him to see him back and see him play a full 17-game season. And I think he's earned, I think he's done enough to be able to get a long-term deal. And I think the Giants should show that they really want him there. These year-to-year deals, strategically, running backs come from college. They play well. It's a 5-year deal. Now they're 26, 27. You franchise them once or twice, they're approaching 30. And then the argument becomes, well, you're 30. You're about to be on a decline. So your lifespan as a running back really is about 7, 8 years. You can probably maximize that and push 10 if you, one, don't get hurt, and or if you're in the mode of a Christian McCaffrey where you can catch the ball really well, and you can run the ball really well. But here's the kicker. And if you're also white, that helps too. And I'm not making it race. I'm not making it's not just race, but negotiations seem to be a bit easier when you have a certain complexion. And I think Christian, he did get injured. He bounced back and he led the league in all sorts, and also it matters what organization you go to and who your GM is and who you're negotiating with. I don't know why they're handcuffing Saquon so hard, but and I think that Christian is at 16 mil. The Giants offer Saquon. I think his franchise package is around 10 mil. Meet in the middle. Extend the deal 3 years, 4, whatever. Meet in the middle. Average it out to be 13 years. You can get creative on the front or back end. And I think respectfully, from what I've heard, he just wanted an average of about 13 mil or so. So he would be somewhere in the middle of where Christian is at the highest paid at 16 and where they're offering him on the franchise, because he's better than the franchise tag.
Right.
And that year-to-year thing is pretty scary. He just wants some stability.
What do you think? Like, what's the best course of action for him, Fred? Like, would you play? Because like we've seen like with Le'Veon Bell to sit out and he got his money, but like I don't know if he seemed quite the same guy after that when he was maybe at the top of his game. Like, what's the best course of action for Saquon here? Like, would you sit it out if you were that offended by it, or does that hurt him also just because then you're away from the game for a year?
Yeah, if you show your hand, then you run the risk of, them playing the jockey match, who's going to fold first. It's tough.
Here's what I would
I don't know what his pockets look like.
Yeah.
I don't know what type of leverage, how long he could sit out. Like sometimes finances play a role in it. Sometimes emotions get involved. I don't know where he stands at with that. I can tell you this, he's been working his ass off. You can look at his clips, personally texting him. He's ready to go. He's trimmed up. He's doing everything he needs to do to put himself in position to be successful, to allow his organization an opportunity to be successful. I mean, from nutrition, he's a lot leaner than he's been. He's ripped up. He's the strongest ever. He looks like he's ready to go and have another great season. Again, he just wants some long-term stability, and I think the Giants should do right by him. I don't know. It's a tough call. I can't even put my hand on what to say to do. I think if it were me, I would threaten to hold out and see where we can get at, see what they could do. If the offense goes out there and they're stagnant and they look like crap, then it would seem that my leverage would be, on the positive side. But if they go out there and ball out with whoever's in the backfield, then I sort of lose some ground. So it can get really tricky.
Fred, I'm going to tell you what you do. You sit out till they realize that Daniel Jones is their quarterback. That could be 3 weeks. That could be 4 weeks. So when you come through that door, the Giants don't have to know, but everybody else know that they paid the wrong guy.
Daniel, I liked Daniel early on. Then I saw him struggle. Then I saw that they lost a lot of receivers. I didn't necessarily love the receivers that they had, but they have some guys with some ability, but I don't absolutely love them. I don't think they have tremendous playmakers at receivers, but I know Daniel is dangerous with his legs. I know you can check the ball down to a Saquon Barkley if you don't have any other. Well, that would be your best outlet if you don't have any other targets. But he's not. I don't think he's like bottom third in the league, but he isn't great. I can tell you he's not top 10, so he's not great. But as you said, you have to realize who's the quarterback's best friend. And Saquon blocks his butt off. He blocks just as good as blitz pickup than the linemen do. Their linemen aren't great. And I think the organization knows this. It comes back to the injuries and the amount of games that Saquon has missed. Even my situation in Jacksonville, after my first 5 years, after my first deal was up, they didn't look to franchise me. I signed an extension, I signed a 4-year extension, I believe, with the team. And I had a decent sized signing bonus in those times. It was comparable to other guys around the league. And I think the Giants, they're just in a huge media market. They've actually put themselves out there to be this, tough, we're going to not fold organization. And if they do, I believe the New York media will tear them in half. I think it's more of emotional with them, and a bit of the GM just not wanting to show that he has a soft spot. But Saquon has certainly deserved that money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking to Fred Taylor, host of the Pivot Podcast, of course, all-time NFL running back. Great. One of the stories that's been down here locally, Fred, is Dalvin Cook, where he's in free agency right now. Seems like he is not quite got the deal that he wants, but Jets, Dolphins are the two teams that are prominently, I guess, rumored around him that he seems to be liking on social media, things like that. If you were Dalvin, obviously I think money seems like the number one thing, and I understand that. But if it is equal, if it is, both teams, which one do you think makes more sense for Dalvin on making an impact this year?
I think obviously Miami makes the most sense. If you look at the weapons around them, I think they're more established. Look at what they did a year ago. Look at, the play caller, here. So I think they have a more explosive offense, and I think he can enhance that. He would definitely cater more or create more one-on-one opportunities for those receivers, with teams having to bring the eighth defender in the box to try to stop the run game. And I also think vice versa, he has to look at what those receivers can do to help him. They're going to create a lot of cover two opportunities where they have to try and double these guys. And now defenses will be light in the box. It'll give him more opportunity to go out there. And since we've been talking about Saquon and longevity and injuries, I think that he will have an opportunity to take less carries if he came to Miami, because they have so many guys to spread the ball around to. And that doesn't necessarily mean that injuries don't find you. It only takes one play, as we know. But I just think that they can spread the ball around to so many different playmakers all over the field here in Miami, and it would be so exciting to watch. I just don't think the Jets have the exact same makeup that the Dolphins have offensively. They do have a veteran quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. That helps a lot. But I just think overall the Miami would be a better fit for Dalvin. And as far as the money, the longer you wait, the longer these teams are going to play games with you. They're going to all say, well, you're not getting these type of offers here and there. Why haven't you signed yet? And then you sort of lose leverage. So if I were Dalvin, I would certainly try to find me a home, for an extended period of time, 5 years or so, somewhere 4 or 5 years on a nice deal at 14, 15 million per year, and just be comfortable there.
He ain't getting 14, 15. Here's the deal.
I think for Dalvin, there's a market there, because Dalvin is he's a top 5 running back.
Yeah, agreed.
It would be tough for him to get 14. But again, my argument is if Christian can set the market at 16, and it might have been generous by San Fran, other running backs can fall right there at 13, 14, even if they feel San Fran went way above, much like teams felt about Cleveland giving Deshaun that package.
Right.
And then they turned around and guys have gotten deals, money on top of that since then. But Dalvin, he's certainly worthy of a, 14, 15 million per year package.
But here's the deal, though. You have to understand that down here, the way they run the ball is everybody run the ball. They have creative ways of handing the football off or whatever. If you're not going to commit to one guy, then you can't pay him that much.
Well, yeah, that would be true. It's all your philosophy.
Right.
It's all in how you run your system, your philosophy. And that's very true. So I believe that if the Dolphins know this is their approach, then maybe they have to get out of that race. So Dalvin wants to go somewhere where he can touch the ball. He will
touch it 250, 300 times here.
As a combination, he needs to touch it at least about 20 times a game. That's
right.
That's rushing and receiving. And I think that's light. I like to see him touch it 25 times a game. And that's 6 receptions, 19 carries, something like that in the run game. So, and that's 6 touchdowns, not just design, but that's not touchdown, but checkdowns. Those are all included. So I think he can be a 25 touch guy per game.
What do you think is a more unreasonable mark, or what do you think is a more likely mark that could be hit? Tyreek Hill says that he wants to catch 2,000 yards this year, and he wants the Dolphins to win a Super Bowl. What is more likely, Fred?
Oh boy, sheesh, 2,000 yards. And I only say that because the AFC is so tough. I don't know what the Dolphins defense is made of. I know their offense looks extremely explosive. I know we saw and we talked on the show about Tua and the concussions. Everybody's going to always brace themselves every time he drops back, but we all pray and wish the best for him. We don't like to see anyone left out there on the field that way. So that's going to also be something to observe. And that's a liability because if he goes down, we don't know what their offense is capable of doing, regardless of the type of players they have around him. 2,000 yards, that's tough too, man. But it's 17 games. I think
it's a crazy. His confidence is insane. I understand why he does that, but it's those are insane marks, Fred.
What is it? 17 games.
140 a game.
140 a game?
Something like that.
That's even crazier.
Like 140.
That's way more than is it 140?
Yeah, you talking about 100 yards a game is 1,700.
1,700.
40 times.
Yeah.
40 times 17.
117
or 7.
yards.
Yeah.
117 yards per game is 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was 117.
Yes, that's tough. I mean, but it's possible if he start out like he did a year ago, because he lit the league up. I think he had almost 1,000 yards in about 7 games or something like that. It was crazy. But again, 2,000 yards is insane. I just don't know. The question was, which is probably more doable, and I think that you'll probably see him get to 2,000 yards before you see the Dolphins win a Super Bowl. To do it in the same season is, man, I need to hit this $1 billion Powerball that's out there. That comes to fruition.
Go check out the Pivot Podcast. Fred Taylor, Channing Crowder, Ryan Clark, they do a fantastic job. They got Errol Spence this week as he is leaked. Bud Crawford next week. Monster fight coming up in Las Vegas for the welterweight undisputed championship of the world. Appreciate the time, Fred. Thank you for always making it for us.
Anytime, guys. Be well.